Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is your city administrator, Chad Brecklin. I love saying that every single time. I'm going to until the day you retire.
Yeah, excellent.
Or they kick me off the show, one way or the other. I am the show. No, can't kick me off. Brecklin, how's it going, sir?
Very good. How are you doing today?
I'm happy. Summertime.
It is
a lot of fun
summertime.
events have already happened in
Yep.
Fitchburg. We got a lot of events coming up.
Yep.
Normally we're talking more about events this time of year, but we've been working on some big projects here in Fitchburg. And that starts with the strategic plan. It kicked off earlier in May.
Yep.
But we're into the community feedback point, which is pretty much the prime. There's a lot of moving factors here, as you know, but
Right.
getting input on the plan is certainly important. So for those if they're just hearing about this for the first time, what is the city's strategic plan that we're talking about?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Jeremy, a month or so ago, the city did kick off its strategic planning process. This is a document that will be created that will ideally guide the city common council and staff through the next 3 to 5 years of where both staff, our elected officials, and our community prioritizes the resources and capacity, where they'd like to see those dedicated to. And we are currently seeking public input on the strategic plan. There is a survey that is available on the city's website, and in fact, there's an entire landing page that's been created just for the strategic plan to have a variety of bits of information out there, as well as that aforementioned survey. And then there's also a couple of more focus groups that are coming up at the end of the month. Earlier this month, the strategic plan consultant hosted some focus groups in a few different locations in the city. And again, those focus groups will be happening later this month.
In fact, he set me up for this because I get to tell you about these focus groups. So coming up here, strategic plan, they're labeled as strategic plan focus group. So if you're looking at this or you hear me say it on the regular show, it's that. June 26th at 6:30 p.m. at Doxa Church is the next one. Then on June 27th, they'll be at the Second Harvest Free Mobile Food Pantry, and that is on site at the Southdale Park at 12:30 p.m. And then again on June 27th from 3 to 6 p.m., they'll be at the Fitchburg Farmers Market, which is at the Agora Pavilion. And later that day on the 27th, because we can't have enough there, we're going to do one more group activity there. And I actually should have said the Farmers Market, but that's happening that day too. But Strategic Plan Focus Group on the 27th is at Hugo Jamestown Park Shelter as well, and that's from 5 to 6 p.m. The final Plan Focus Group on June 27th, the second one that day will be at 6:30. Again, at Hugo Jamestown Park. So basically 2 events at each park, minus the Farmers Market, which I read in between there. I should have unhighlighted that, but that's okay. You can go to the Farmers Market and do the strategic plan stuff as well. Why is the feedback important? Why are we getting that feedback here from residents and staff and council as well?
Right. Well, I mean, it is a plan, and ideally the plan is as encompassing as reasonably possible. And in order to really be as encompassing as reasonably possible, that requires input from a few different sources, that being staff, elected officials, and community. And we're hopeful that we'll get some nice participation from our community members, and will really help identify how they prioritize the existing services the city is providing, and what, if any, new services might there be some interest in, assuming that the city has the financial resources to be able to implement that service.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this play out. Again, if you want to get involved with this, can't make to those events, you still can go to our website, fitchburgwi.gov. It's right there on the homepage with our strategic plan, and checking out the social pinpoint website as the portal site. That's what I've been calling it. But we want you to take the survey, and also there'll be updates as the plan moves on. So continue feedback points coming. So hopefully we'll get people involved with that. All right, turning our attention to CIP, that's Capital Improvement Plan. Almost a project. It's a plan project.
There are a lot of projects in the plan.
There is a lot of projects in there, and that's what it is all about. The mayor's piece of that has come out just for, again, reminder on where we are in the budget process, because there's 2 times a year. It's pretty much budget and budget.
Yeah, it's a little like road construction in winter here.
Exactly.
It's more or less budget and winter.
It's true.
Either between the capital improvement plan or the operating budget. So you are mentioning the capital improvement plan, and as you mentioned, Jeremy, the mayor's proposed capital improvement plan was just released last week, and that serves as a 10-year plan for how the city intends to spend financial resources through either tax levy or borrowing or some other combination of the two. There are a couple other ways in which we might fund a project as well, but generally speaking, those are the biggies. And we focused on the first 5 years of that plan. Those projects are the ones that are either have been vetted and are happening soon, or will be vetted and numbers and scope refined over the next couple of years up until the time in which those projects might happen. And then the last 5 years, years 6 through 10 on that plan, are kind of out there as a what's on the horizon. Those projects haven't necessarily been fully vetted. The scope of those projects hasn't necessarily been fully refined. But ultimately, it's important for those to be noted out there on the horizon so everybody has an idea of what's possibly coming up next. But yeah, there's a process involved, as with anything through the CIP. Alders will now have an opportunity to submit amendments to that plan. And of course, the public, as always, is encouraged and able to offer their feedback either via email or other communications directly with the elected officials or through a couple of the public hearings.
Yeah, and guess what? Jeremy gets to say those dates here coming up. So get your calendars out. The first presentation, which if I was going to ask you to pick one, I mean, we want you to public comment, of course, but if you want to learn a little bit about what each department is doing, kind of the overview with that project, Finance Committee presentations by department heads, that's June 24th, starts at 6 p.m. You can watch that right here on Fact TV if you don't want to come down to City Hall. Also, the public hearing for Common Council happens the next night at 7:30 p.m. That's Tuesday, June 25th. And then the final public hearing in adoption night, so the public hearing and then amendments too by council, that'll be June 23rd, with adoption same night.
July.
July, thank
July
you.
23rd.
I couldn't do it right no matter what. I just...
There's a lot of dates and months happening between the last two topics of conversation, so no worries.
Oh, don't worry. And then this last one we're going into has more times and dates and everything else in between, so I'm going to try and do that too. So we'll see if I can do better on the third day. We had changes in our City Hall hours, and folks might be like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. So we've been examining a potential pilot program for the better part of probably 9 to 12 months here at City Hall, largely circling around our coverage concerns or issues related to the front counter where people typically come in and generally interact with a member of our clerks team, and then also from a recruitment and retention standpoint as well. So one of the other things we did throughout this time frame is take a look at the data and what does that show for visitors to City Hall, when are they typically coming, and of course, over the last year or so, probably 15 months, we have moved a number of potential services that you can obtain via online through an OpenGov application. Things like building permits, pet licenses, alcohol license renewal, planning and zoning applications. A number of those things have been moved to give people an ability to obtain those services online. And of course, for a number of years, we've had the ability for folks to pay bills and or tickets and those sorts of things online as well. So coupling all those things, we ultimately decided to implement that pilot program this week, the week of June 10th. Or I almost said July. And,
June and July, they just roll off the tongue.
They do. We're just so happy to be in summer.
We are.
That the months blend together. But ultimately, the week of June 10th is when the new pilot program City Hall hours begin, and that's Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're going to run this pilot program through the end of the year and do an evaluation towards the end of the calendar year here and see if this is something that's worthwhile to continue.
Yeah, and other departments are staying similar. So when we're talking about police department, senior center, recreation, community center, and library, all of those except library, they have their own set of hours, but are 8 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. So they stay the same. We're really talking about City Hall here.
Correct, yep.
And library, their hours change by the year as well, within the year. So definitely want you to check back on that and make sure. But generally speaking, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and then 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. with a special Sunday date of 1 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Of
But
course.
that's there for the taking. And you said yes, we will relook at this at a later date. Maybe it changes in between because it's not working, but we want the feedback as well, and hear from not just the employees but residents as well.
Right, and I should add, as folks get ready to vote absentee coming up for the partisan primary in August, as well as the general election in November, that we will still have in-person absentee voting hours similar to what we've had in the past. So we don't anticipate any changes in those hours.
Yeah, nope. I think we'll be here when we need to be here, and make it clear when we are and aren't. So that'll be there. All right, Chad. We'll appreciate the time, and we'll check back in with you the month of July. Say it right here. Thank you.
Thank you.